One of the most challenging things in running a small business is dealing with the ups and downs. It's really difficult when life throws things at you that perhaps you couldn't anticipate that have a material impact on your business. In this video, I'm going to talk about a few things that might help you cope with such circumstances when they do arise. Firstly, one of the most important elements of coping with the stresses and strains of running a business is, quite ironically, not to be too identified with the business itself. When we run a small business, we can become so closely aligned to it that it almost becomes us. We are the business is us, and we see ourselves almost exclusively in terms of the business and what it's doing. Now that's great when things are going well, but when things become tougher, it becomes really difficult because the adversity faced by the business is felt personally. It's about us somehow. So learning to cope with the pressures of running a small business really involves retaining or trying to focus on your own identity too. Remembering that you're actually quite separate from the business. You have your own history, your own life, your own aspirations, hobbies, family. So trying to separate that out and seeing yourself as separate somehow will allow you to feel better if the business is in a difficult position. You can do that in various ways. You can perhaps write a biography of yourself that doesn't mention the business. You can look at scrapbooks of photographs of times when you were doing things that didn't involve the business. But what is crucial is that you separate yourself from the business in your mind, because that will allow you to cope with it better. Secondly, learning to relax and switch off is a crucial skill in running a business, particularly important at times of adversity when the pressures are horrendous and really difficult to manage. So having a clear stress management routine in place for yourself is vital if you're to survive and build the resilience that you need to, irrespective of whether the business continues or whether it struggles in particular ways. Stress management involves a whole range of different things, but essentially it's about learning to switch off from your worries. You can do this by distracting yourself, focusing on a different project, exercise, mindfulness. There are many ways that you can find online, but having a method of controlling your stress will mean that you're fitter and more able to deal with whatever challenges the business throws at you. The third thing to think about is really maintaining a grip on reality. Sometimes that when we're under enormous pressure and stress, we start to think about things in ways that aren't helpful to us and perhaps exaggerate some of the risks and some of the challenges ahead. I don't mean they exaggerate them in terms of the actual challenges, but sometimes we look at them in ways that aren't helpful to us, or perhaps magnify the difficulties or awfulness of things that we're perhaps having to go through. Two common thinking traps are catastrophizing. We just simply focus on the worst possible scenario and catastrophize all the time. Another one is awfulizing, that we make out in our minds for it to be absolutely awful. We can't cope with it. Getting real and focusing on the reality, in that things are rarely a catastrophe. There's normally a whole series of things or steps you can go through to intervene and make things different. And awfulizing, stopping focusing on the most awful elements and reminding yourself that you can cope, and you will cope if you need to, are two important tools in your toolkit in maintaining your psychological resilience at difficult times. Finally, those of us who run small businesses are often not very good at seeking help from other people because we're so used to doing it ourselves, picking up the chores, thinking it through, taking responsibility. But seeking help and support is really important, particularly at times like this when things are difficult and challenging. So find ways of reaching out to other people, friends, family, workmates, colleagues, other people who run businesses like you. Ask them what they're doing and how things are going for them, and they hopefully will provide a sounding board for you too. That'll just make you feel a little bit better and not quite so much by yourself. That's really important when things are a bit tough.